Yeah, అయినా become కథన్. Hi, class.
ఎలా ఉన్నారు?
నేను బాగున్నాను మాధురి. How are you, ma? I'm in the car, so for some time it will be little dark and all. Bear with me, but continue with your live and we can answer.
Thank you so much. Firstly, thank you so much. I feel so privileged to host you. I never thought that I would really talk to you in my...
No, we've been little busy last 1 week, 2 weeks, as you know. That's why we had to get back to you little late. So sorry for the delay, Papa.
No, that's fine. That's totally fine. Totally understandable. Thank you. So for all the viewers, we are live today with Dr. Manjula Anagani. She's an Indian gynecologist and obstetrician and laparoscopic surgeon. She's trained in prenatal genetic evaluation, infertility, ultrasonography, and laparoscopy. And as we all know, she's also a Padma Shri awardee. And my introduction in iste naku
we will go ahead with the doubts of the people and we can answer.
Turning point, ma'am. So I started the small initiative on Mother's Day. So my main motive to start this was to create awareness, inspire, and motivate people, mainly focusing on women-oriented issues like physical health, mental health, financial independence, anything, and also at the same time focusing on kids, parenting issues, Montessori, child psychology, anything with women and kids. And also I wanted to bring a lot of inspirational stories on one platform, and that should be my page. So that's the motive to start this. So I thought, like, why don't we create some awareness? Andukani I have a couple of questions from our community ladies. So we have three different aspects. One is menopause, the second one is early puberty or menstruation in girls, and also COVID related questions. So we'll go with menopause first. First question was, what are the pre-menopause and menopause changes, and how do we take it physically and mentally?
Right, beautiful question, because menopause is not one day. It is a phase of life, and it is like 1/3 of our life we are going to live that, because our life expectancy has increased. And if we take menopausal age around 52, we are going to live till 70, 72. So first 20 years of our life goes before we understand what is happening. Next 30 years goes in by the time we bring up the children and all. And next 20 years is the actual time for ourselves where we need to be careful. And before we actually attain menopause, about 5 years before that, our perimenopausal age starts. That is what is called climacteric, where hormonal imbalances start, and there will be a lot of changes which happen. So what are the changes which happen? First is the vaginal changes, where the thickness of the vaginal wall becomes thin, so it can have a dyspareunia. You have a sexual issues which you're going to have, and painful intercourse. Second will be urinary symptoms, which are going to have like recurrent frequency of urine, recurrent urinary tract infections, and all those things. Third is the psychological issues which we can have. That is the what we'll have is the depression, loneliness, empty nest syndrome, where children are at the same time are going. So it is double dhamaka. Children leave us, and we are going through the hormonal imbalances, and all these things can happen. And fourth will be the vasomotor. Means you can have sweating, you can have hot flushes, you can have irritability. I mean, it's all these changes which happen in the same time will lead to a lot of unpleasantness, both in the emotional level and even in the physical level. Then as we delay the things and we enter menopause, and then we go into the forward in life, our bones start becoming weaker. So you have muscle pains, joint pains, bones become thinner, so we'll have increased fracture rates. Then you have a heart which becomes weak, and then strokes and everything. And finally, do not forget the cancers which start coming in the menopausal age group. So all these things happen. So what do we do? Yeah, you can form a friends group where it is the self-help groups where other people can help. So what helps us might not help the others, but we can still share, it can help. So one thing is we have all become nuclear family, which we are. So we make a pseudo family with a group of social groups, which definitely helps. We have somebody to listen to our agony, and that really gives us a relief. Then supplements are very essential in the form of multivitamins, trace elements, iron, calcium, which is very important for the bone. Apart from it, we need a heart.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I think I'm on the ride on the way, so I think something got stuck. Now it should be all right.
Yeah.
So this is what has been, I don't know how much you heard, but whatever is that, it is all, no woman is born to suffer, no woman is born to go through anything. So you need help, take your help. It can be the friends, it can be family, it can be professional help. Don't delay the help which you need when it comes to the menopausal age group. you can make it really beautiful. It is a time for second innings, time for second the honeymoon and everything. And I strongly believe that it is the need which should body should not feel inhibited. You should meet your doctor and you should be treated for whatever you need, whether it is the vaginal symptoms or the psychological symptoms. And you don't forget the hormonal imbalances which can lead to menstrual irregularities also. So when it happens, you should be taking the treatment.
Yeah. So you mentioned that we need to take supplements. So, like, what age should we start taking the supplements? Because for I personally,
at 40 we need to start taking the supplements, because your calciums are something which your bone needs, and you need to take supplements right from 40 years in the form of a Well Woman, where multivitamin trace elements will be there, and then it can be in the form of calcium citrate or calcium carbonate, which is easily available, and then iron tablets also if need comes. If you're having menstrual cycles which are irregular and it can be high, then definitely iron tablets also will be needed. So I mean, depending on if you need it, if you're bleeding more, then iron supplements. So all these things are very important. If you have deficiencies, your irritability and the premenstrual symptoms will actually become worse.
Okay. And the second question, ma'am, after menopause, how often should women go to mammogram, pap smear?
Yes, this is a beautiful question again. Like I said, yearly mammogram for at least 3 times, and if it is negative, and actually what is important to know, Madhuri, is from 30 years you should know how to palpate your breast self-examination, breast examination. So it keeps changing according to the hormonal levels. So what is very important is on day 1 of period, people have to start checking the period, because according to the hormonal, the architecture of the breast also keeps changing. So you need to keep knowing this, how does your breast feel on day 1 of period. That's the way you need to check, and then you need to keep it under control. So the day you palpate an abnormal mass, you should be going to the doctor and get her palpate your breast, and then only if necessary do a mammogram. But after 50 menopause, definitely you should be at 40. You should do at 40 you should have a 1 mammogram, and if it's normal you don't have to worry. So at least 3 negative mammograms, then you can do it once in 3 years or once in 5 years, depending on how your recommendations go. But pap smear is the same. If you are with the same partner, yearly 1 pap smear, and after 3 negative you can do it once in 3 years. Mammogram, now we do it once in 5 years if necessary, but otherwise it is self breast examination every month, and then if necessary doctor's examination every year.
Okay. I think that's a clear picture of getting it done. Okay. Now we'll get into puberty questions, ma'am. So generation girls, we see that there are early signs of menstruation.
Right.
So how does the dietary factors or the lifestyle affect for the early puberty?
It is totally the dietary and the environmental. Genetic is a very small role now. See, anything which is genetic does not just happen like this. There should be a cofactor. The cofactor is the environmental issues and the dietary and the not doing the exercises. When I say that, the amount of estrogen which goes into the body, either it is produced by the ovaries or it is taken from outside. So if there is an imbalance between that, that's when all these things happen. Now, fat produces estrogen. And our dietary things, if we are not careful, we'll have endocrine disrupting chemicals which are causing all these problems. And we are not exercising, leading to increased puppy fat, which is again releasing estrogen. So we are becoming couch potatoes, and the dietary ingredient of the estrogen is very high, leading to precocious puberty. What people have to understand is, first there is thelarchy, that is breast bud development. Mm-hmm. After 1 year after that, you will develop pubic hair, and after 1 year after that, then it will go into the menarche. So we have good enough 2 years before we can stop it if it's going to be precocious. If you see a 5-year-old, 6-year-old having breast bud, please take the kid to the doctor. Stop the progress. There is no harm with that. But if the kid becomes menarcheal very early, then that the problem comes. She's physically young, but her physically becomes, she'll become like a woman, but mentally she's a kid. So she can be subjected to physical abuse by people whom you trust. Second, the height is completely stunted, because once your menarche comes, the long bones gets fused, and that leads to a lot of problems. So precocious puberty, we need to stop it. And when you're taking diet, please be careful about what you're giving. No adulterated stuff. A lot of means the cultured chicken, and all those things we should be avoiding.
So, do dairy products impact early puberty? Because
Dairy products, that is $1 million question, because dairy products itself will not cause, but how sure are you the buffaloes which are giving the milk is not adulterated with injections for the production to be more? For a person who is doing business, the amount of milk a buffalo is producing is more important than the effects the milk is going to have on the kids. I have seen months baby having breast buds because the dairy milk which the buffalo was giving was adulterated with oxytocins and the estrogen injections which they were giving. Okay, so this is an adulterated milk without you knowing that the buffalo has been adulterated, and you give that milk. So what is important is the pasteurized milk which comes from a government source. Okay,
Yeah.
So mother's milk is the best, otherwise that milk, that's it. Don't ever thinking that we're getting buffaloes home and then we are taking organic. That is what we are talking mantra now. But how sure are you that they are giving organic is $1 million question.
Yeah, totally agree. And there's a chaos between like the whole milk, 2% milk, the 1% milk.
Don't mix. Doesn't matter. Here I'm not worried about fat. I am more worried about the ingredients, how much of the estrogen is going into that milk.
Okay, so that answers. And also, can we regulate or delay the first period naturally?
You can, nothing natural, because it is abnormal. We need to stop. What is very important, Madhuri, is that the link between the brain and the menstrual cycle. Hypothalamo-pituitary ovarian axis means the brain has a strong hold on the ovary. Then the ovary produces hormones, estrogen, progesterone, and then the menstrual cycle happens.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So if the brain is the one which can be targeted upon by stress, you have periods which comes early. In COVID vaccine periods become haywire because of the stress which we are undergoing. So unless we stop the link, you cannot stop the progress of precocious puberty, because it's not taught here.
Yeah.
So we need to stop it by giving injection. The small kid does not think I should get menstrual cycle.
Yeah.
So it is that we have to stop that cycle there.
Yeah.
Understood?
Okay. Yeah. One more question. And how do we educate the parents and the girls at the same time on their arrival of first period? Somebody suggested me to show it to her directly. Like when I have my periods, show it to your kid so that she is aware of it. Like, do you?
No, I don't think it is needed. Nowadays, kids are very smart. They know everything.
Yeah.
We just have to explain to them, take a paper, pen, draw it and tell them this is how it is going to be. See, during my times when we were in 10th class and 8th, because we had menarche at 13, 14 years, aram se.
Yes.
And by the time I became, my friends were having, but the joke with my friend was when she started crying one day because thinking in those days, bleeding from anywhere is cancer. Okay.
Yeah.
So she was like, I have cancer, I'm going to die. Finally, it was menstrual cycle. So it is not so childish now.
Yeah.
So now everybody knows it. So we just have to explain, trust the kids.
Okay.
And see that 5th class, 6th class is the time for them to have a proper sexual education, and give them sanitary napkins to be put inside the bag every day, because anytime they can get. So you have to keep a watch on the breast buds. You have to keep a watch on the pubic hair. And then you know that once the pubic hair comes, within a year she's going to get. So explain to her. Every school nowadays have a the awareness, health awareness talk by a gynecologist, and we explain them. So you don't have to show or do anything. You just have to show how a menstrual pad has to be utilized. How do you have to put it?
Okay.
And when it comes to menstrual pad, no plastics in the menstrual pad. Please concentrate on organic sanitary napkins or a menstrual cup.
Okay. So you prefer menstrual cup over pads?
Absolutely.
Okay. No, that's good. Yeah. Well, let's get into COVID and COVID vaccination and pregnancy. So vaccination during pregnancy, is it? How far is it suggestible? Like a lot of people have fear about taking vaccination during pregnancy. So
let me put 3 factors forward for you. Okay. 1, there is a difference between recommendations and permissions.
Yeah.
I'll get back to it.
Okay.
Second, the fact is pregnancy, if they get COVID, it is 20 times more dangerous for the woman and the baby. The higher chances for dying, higher chances for lung damage, higher chances for blood clots, because COVID is a thrombogenic case, and even the pregnancy is a thrombogenic and double dhamaka, and the clot going and sitting in the brain or the heart is very high. Third fact is the corona, when it comes to pregnancy, did not cause any anomalies in the baby, and the vaccination, when given in the last 1.5 years as a priority in the Western world and even in UK, did not cause any problems in the mother and the child. So out of the 3 problems, the first is the recommendations by the gynecological societies, that is gynecologists all over the world and in India, is that as a pregnancy is a high risk condition for corona, please vaccinate, make it a priority and give all the pregnant women. That is a recommendation. Now comes the permission from the government. As of today, permission is given only for lactating mothers and not for pregnancy. Now, saying that, you need to live first. So there are so many times we give off-label things. On the label, they will say, use it with care. This is not advised, but we still give it to save the patients. Okay? That is what is called off-label use. So you want to live, just go and take vaccine. Right now, that is the priority. Because if you're worried, first you live, then only your baby is going to live. You take a vaccine, the best point is you're going to develop antibodies which is going to cross and that is going to save the baby. The antibodies you're going to develop will cross and save the baby from getting infection. So by taking the vaccine, you're saving yourself and you're saving the baby also.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah, got it. And so when do you recommend the pregnant ladies to take the vaccination? Like which
anytime. Like today is the best time. That's it.
Okay. And let's say like they take the first dose and they tested positive. So when do we take the second dose?
After the first dose, when they get infection, after the infection comes down, wait for a minimum of 4 weeks and then go for the vaccine.
And so with regards to vaccination, there are a lot of myths. Like it affects the menstrual cycle. Ante chala mandi chepparu, even if not for pregnant, vaccine తీసుకుంటే నీ menstrual cycle disturb అవుతుంది, మొత్తం hirsutism, all that, everything you little be seen on the face. Like what do you say?
Let me tell you. Hirsutism is nothing to do with that. Okay, hirsutism is a PCOS. If you have a PCOS, you will anyway get it. If you have a PCOS, you'll get acne. Yes, irregular cycles. I just told you there is a lot of relationship between the brain and the ovary and the hormonal imbalance. So the stress of COVID around, stress of lockdown, stress of doing everything, stress of vaccination, all these things together is going to cause your menstrual cycle irregular, not the vaccine per se. No, corona itself can cause. Post-corona also it is going to be irregular for you. Okay, so it's the stress which is causing irregularity. Even if it happens, it's temporary. So relax. You need to live to have irregularities also, right?
Yeah.
So take the vaccine.
Okay, that's good. And one last thing, ma'am, we'll cover a little bit about PCOS. So these days, I think almost like out of 10 women, we see like 5 cases of PCOS for sure. So what are the 7? Okay. Yeah, so your stats are more correct. I know. So like what are the main factors? Is it again the dietary factors and the lifestyle that is leading to PCOS in women these days?
See, let me tell you very simply, okay? PCOS can come at any age. It can be at 13-14 years when they have menarche. It can come at 30-40 first time. And it can come at 45 also for the first time. Why? What is common in all these age groups? Stress.
Yeah.
Stress, which is the culprit in that. Others are all co-factors. Yeah. Is always a genetic element. Also means if a PCOS mother delivers, the child has a higher this thing. But the same thing applies for the stress. If a mother is stressful, child also will be going to be stressful. Okay? Yeah. So it is a stress which is going to cause all these things which can happen to life. Now, stress is a precipitating thing, but that is leading to so many changes inside the body. There are 3 things which are going to happen. Okay? 1, insulin resistance. Second, central hormonal imbalances. Okay, and the third thing is testosterone becoming increased. Okay, so when there's a central hormonal imbalance which is going to happen, there's going to be irregular cycles. Right? When there is insulin resistance, you're going to put on weight and obesity is going to come. And if there is a testosterone which is going to increase, you're going to get acne and abnormal hair everywhere in the body.
Yeah.
So everybody can have all anything or one thing or 2 things or anything.
Okay.
For all 3 also. So it is not necessary, I'm having regular periods so I don't have PCOS. No.
Yeah.
It can be anywhere in the spectrum.
Yeah.
That's why it's called PCOS, not PCOD anymore. The PCOS means polycystic ovarian syndrome. And if neglected, these are the people who will develop hypertension, diabetes, heart disease, and cancers also. So do not neglect. That is the first thing. So what to do? It is a lifestyle disease. So de-stress yourself first. Okay. Stress relief. It can be music, it can be dance, it can be meditation, ram, anything. Just 15 minutes a day. Do
Okay.
de-stress. Okay? Have a me time
Mhm.
and have a happy time.
Okay.
Second, exercise. Your insulin resistance has to come back to normal. Physical exercise, not walking, not yoga. They're all good. But you should do where the muscle contracts. So you have to do skipping, swimming, cycling, that sort of exercises.
Okay.
Swimming. Okay? Aerobics. Or dancing. Get into a room. 3 Tapori songs and dance. That's enough. Third, diet. Decrease your carbohydrates. You should not increase the insulin resistance. So decrease your carb, increase your protein, and average fats.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
So if you do these 3, next comes the doctor.
Okay.
50% is your work. You do stress management, diet, and exercise. Then we come for the central hormones. We take care of with a hormonal treatment. Only a diamond can cut a diamond. So hormonal imbalance, hormones.
Yeah.
Testosterone is high, anti-testosterone medicines. Insulin resistance is high, insulin sensitizers. So 3 is above 3 are हमारा काम है, 3 अपना आपका काम है.
Okay.
Okay. So we give insulin sensitizers, which are pre-diabetic medicines. You are diabetic, pre-diabetic. Remember that. So let doctor treat their own, but you treat your work.
Okay. Okay.
So only one person cannot treat PCOS.
Yeah.
We never talk about cure. We only talk about control.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it. But on the same lines, ma'am, I'm a PCOS prone individual. So, doctor said I was following the diet instructions and also dancing. I learned dance for a couple of times. I felt it regulated. It helped me.
It keeps you under control, but you have to follow the lifestyle.
Exactly. I quit that, but they suggested me to take the birth control pills as a PCOS medicine. So what are the impacts? I felt there are a lot of side effects because of that. Because my almost 15-20 days, I used to bleed continuously.
That means your medicine is not suiting you. You should change it. Remember one thing: a diamond only can cut a diamond. You cannot take a knife and cut a diamond. So if you have like I said, when you have a central hormonal imbalance, you have to choose. It's a cafeteria choice. Not everything suits everybody. So for you, what is the right medicine that has to be given? If that did not suit you, change over. There'll be another medicine which will help you, but you have to keep it under control. But lifestyle, you have to maintain.
Okay.
Understand?
Yeah, I get it. And I think, that's
last question.
Sorry?
Last question.
Yeah, last question. So, like, how does vaccination during pregnancy affect lactation?
It doesn't affect. It is good. It will only, even during vaccination, during lactation is good. You have to develop antibodies, means either, even if you get the infection, you'll get antibodies, or if you are vaccinated, you'll get the antibodies. These antibodies will cross through the milk or through the placenta and help the baby. So please, it's only helpful. And there's one question I want to answer because there's a question asked by Srija. Vaccination. Cervical vaccination is something, what we call it as actually HPV vaccination. HPV and papillomavirus, which is most instrumental. In fact, 100% the cause for cervical cancers, vaginal cancers, vulval cancers, head and neck cancers, and even the warts and even the anal cancers. So we can prevent so many things by this vaccine. Now, when should it be given? It is preferably given between 10 to 12 years of age. If it is given at that age, it's only 2 doses, and after that it is 3 doses. But once it is given, it is lifetime protection. And if you take it, even if you're going towards it also, it will come regress it. So please, all the women out there and even boys out there, it will also prevent the penile cancers and warts. Just go and take your vaccine, HPV vaccine. If you're taking HPV vaccine, the gap between corona vaccine and HPV vaccine is 2 weeks. Okay?
Okay.
Final word is assault against doctor, is any violence is unacceptable. One and a half year we have been taking care of all of you to see that you are doing well. We are here working in the bad situations and the worst situations possible. No sleep, long hours. Our only aim is to see that you survive. In spite of it, the infection is bad. It is virulent. If it is, we really don't know how it's going. Anybody is going to react, and we are losing patients. We are surrounded by misery. We are surrounded by people who are dying, and we are going through depressions, and we are having a lot of stress, and we are going to have this expose ourselves to a lot of virus. And if it comes, we are the first ones to die.
Yes.
And then people come and hit us. Not at all acceptable at all. And God is the one which has to take care of us. And remember one thing, we are not the one we are taking the money. Money goes to hospital, not us. We are here only to work. We are here to think. Our profession, our passion is to save people. Please understand that violence of any sort, whether it is domestic violence or against doctors, is not acceptable.
That's totally true. We respect for you for what you're doing, and I totally can relate to what you're saying, ma'am. That means a lot, and people out there, please do understand and that they have their personal life as well. And do not no protest and no violence. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. In April,
All the
that's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. All the best. Bye.